Suzanne, she's like, you just have a lightness about you. And it's like, she's like, you bring the sun. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like that, I mean, I don't know of a nicer compliment than that. And she's like, every time I
Yes.
see you, there's just like a vitality that you didn't have before. And she's like, not that you've done, she's
Yeah.
like,
It's not a judgment thing. Yeah.
no. And she was just like, and every time I surrounded, like, I want to go do something good. She's like, because you're bringing a goodness. And I was like, can we just record? Can I record this? Like,
Yeah. For my bad days when I'm chain spiraling myself. Hi, I'm Jen.
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
Today we are talking about the quote that you hear very many parents say is, I would die for my kids. And Suzanne is laughing because she knows how much disdain I have for this statement. And I'm about to tell you why, so just prepare for my soapbox. So I say that I would die for my kids is basically throwing up like barriers to say like I would die for my kids, and then you like put a barrier up like, and that's all I need to do for them.
Yeah. As opposed to, well, I'll let you continue. Yes.
Well, no. And then I'm just curious because I would say my 1.0 version of Jen would have said like, yeah, of course I would die for my kids. Like I would do anything for my kids. Like I love my kids so much. I would do anything for them. Right. But I wasn't. I know I wasn't.
But to me, that's the clarification.
Yeah.
I think you would die for your kids if they needed, like when you get to the practicality of like the statement itself, I think the way you maybe phrased it was that you wouldn't die for your kids, and our listener might be like, okay.
Yes.
I think what you're saying is that they're using the statement, I would die for my kids, as a shield for having to do other things.
Yes. So I view that statement, if that's your only statement. So yeah, let me clarify. If your only statement is, I love my kids so much, I would die for them, and then that's all you say, to me, that's a shield saying, I don't take accountability for how I act. I don't take accountability for unlearning toxic behaviors. I don't take accountability for learning healthy behaviors. And I basically don't take accountability for any of my other parenting of my children because I love them more than life itself and I would die for them. And it irks me because I know so many people and I have people in my life that say this. And yet, is that all there is for your kid? Like, is that it? So if you love them so much and you would die for them, like you really have no other responsibilities, like you've won the parent award?
I love that you have your hands on your hips, like, and you won the parent award.
Because I hope I'm being clear about this because I'm so passionate. I get all sorts of feisty. And so that's why I'm like, listen, you might want to turn this one off because I'm about to get a little sassy.
Well, but I think I would clarify for our friend listening, like what you're saying is, oftentimes parents, and we see it with others, that they will say, and 1.0 of us was, I don't need to work on myself. I don't need to work hard to unlearn bad habits, to create new healthy habits, to build a relationship and connection with my kids, to do any of those things that are actually important. Instead, I'm going to use this as a permission slip to not have to do any of that, because I can just say to everyone, I would die for my kids. And I can say to myself, I would die for my kids. And somehow that is sufficient. And therefore you don't have to do all of the hard work related to your kids and yourself. Would that be true?
Yes. That's 100%. See, I knew she'd come in with her calm lawyerliness and like explain me much better because I get all hot and feisty. So anyways, I guess I want to unpack this and I want to start a conversation with the women and men that are listening to this to say, like, ask yourself a real question, because version 2.0 of Jen knows that is not acceptable. Like saying that you love and die for your kids, but you're not willing to change anything or better yourself mentally, spiritually, physically is not okay, because chances are you came from a place, most people come from a place where they've picked up either a lot of toxic things and unhealthy things or a few. Nobody comes from a perfect life. My children will definitely not come from a perfect life. But what I can say is, and they will know, and they are witnessing it every day, that mom was this way and now she's this way. And this has benefited me in these ways. Some of it as children, and they'll know more of it as young adults. And then obviously when they become parents and can see the different ways that people are raised and the things that they're dealing with versus friends, etc. Right? So my goal is, as a parent, and I feel it's every parent's responsibility, is to do a self-assessment, take some accountability. What things have I brought from my childhood experiences, learned experiences, life experiences to this point that I don't want to pass on to my kids? What are things that I don't want them to go through? And you don't accomplish that by being a helicopter parent and trying to control everything. Suzanne and I know we've tried to control it all. You do that by actually taking like radical accountability and a true self-assessment. And it's not about being perfect, but it's being like, and my husband and I have both had to do this. Like, what have we brought into this relationship for both our marriage and being parents to children that we need to unlearn? And what things do we need to go out and seek and learn that are healthy? And how can we leave our kids better than we found them, right? Like take 1.0, move to 2.0. At this point, we're probably on, I don't even know, a million point oh. And so I don't know. I have this conversation with friends and people, there's two reactions. People get super offended and defensive. And people are like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've been working on this and working on that. And yeah, I noticed this, but I don't really know what to do about it. And they're just kind of like aware and open to making changes. So like, what has been your conversations with friends, or have you ever had this conversation with
I
people?
have. Yeah, no, I have. And I had to have it with myself and with Greg as well.
Yeah.
And I think my interpretation is like, I would die for my kids, meaning that I want to provide them with the best life possible and the best examples that I can. And that means, and I haven't always done that. I mean, shoot, we've talked here about a lot of the things that have not, and that we continue to work on. But I think one, it's the effort. Are you willing to try? Are you willing to acknowledge that you need to heal? Because there's not a human being on this earth that I'm aware of that probably doesn't need some healing or needs to unlearn some things or learn new things. Yeah. I mean, that's just part of being a human and wanting more. Evolving. And I think, evolving and wanting more for your family. And so to me, it's taking those concepts and saying like, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to show my kids that I can chase dreams. I want to show my kids and talk to them about, hey, I'm spiraling in guilt and shame right now. This is a normal human response. And this is some of the steps I take to get out of it.
Sure.
And so kind of what you were saying is you're unlearning and learning and passing it along to your kids. And I think when I was at a place where I could barely function in terms of like doing just the bare necessities for my kids, that wasn't serving them well. That wasn't helping them. And so pulling myself out of that is what helped them, you know, and I couldn't have stopped what happened to me. That was going to happen no matter what, because I was on the path I was
trajectory.
On. Yeah. And so to me, when you use that phrase, it's important, like you said, how do I leave them in a better place than where we started? And that's going to be different for every person. And I think the 1.0 version was very much like, I can't even deal with that. Like, I'm barely trying to work on myself, or like, there's nothing to work on. Like, they're kids and they'll just have to deal with it and grow up. But I highly doubt a lot of our friends listening, if you're listening to our podcast, you're already on the journey of trying to figure yourself out. And I think maybe why it sparks such a response in you is probably at some point you felt that way and used it as a shield, and or you watch other people use it as an excuse not to work on themselves, and you see what happens with them and their kids, and you can watch the generational trauma continue. And when you're someone who is so invested like you are in stopping generational trauma and working on yourself, it's something very personal to who you are and your purpose and passion in life.
True.
And so I think this is why it's so strong. Whereas like for me, I'm like, yeah, like it's annoying, like, but whatever. But for you, that's why I giggled at the beginning of the episode, because we've talked about it and you're like, for the love of God, Suzanne, what is wrong with these people? And they use this. But I think what you're really seeing is the fear and hurt and scared and frustration of people being unwilling to change and to
Yeah.
deal with their trauma so as to not to pass it off to their kids.
Yes. Yes. That is 100% accurate. Yes. Yes. And I think that people who don't feel capable of change, right? Like they justify a lot, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is how I was raised. Well, this is what love means to me or whatever, right? Even though they're like you and I feeling this like emptiness, that's like unfillable emptiness. And so then my next question is like, well, do you want your kids to feel this when they're adults? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, well, how's that going to happen? Right? It's like, we don't want our kids to feel the way we felt. We don't want them to go through the things we go through. And yet we're not taking care of ourselves and teaching ourselves in order to teach our kids. We're just saying, but I love them so much. It's like, oh, okay. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I guess what I'm trying to say to people is if you don't change, nothing will change. So however you feel, your deepest, darkest, everything, I don't care how much you love your kids. I don't care if you're willing to die for them. Your children, I promise you, will grow up to feel the exact same way you feel. So unless you're just a ball of joy, love your life, have healthy communication, healthy relationships, healthy relationships with money, healthy relationships with parents, healthy relationships with siblings, like friends. Like I could go on and on. Unless you just feel like your healing journey is buttoned up, whatever shortcomings you have, your kids are going to feel them. And I think that that is a really hard thing for parents to hear, especially in this day and age, because everyone's already so overwhelmed.
Sure.
Everybody's already in survival mode. So I don't say it with not an unloving and empathetic heart. I'm saying like you can't afford, if you truly love your kids and you truly don't want them to feel the way you feel day in and day out with the struggles you're currently experiencing day in and day out, then you have to make a change. That is what loving your child is to make a change in yourself so that they can be the recipient of breaking that generational trauma, that generational curse. And it's multiple things. It's not this big thing, right? It's like relationship with money, connection, how to solve conflict, how to forgive people. What's your identity? How do you show up in the world? Do you shame spiral? How do you get out? Like you just said, how do I get out of a shame spiral? Like there's so many little things that we are going through every single day, and our kids are just watching and sponging. And whether they say it or not, little or old, they're like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to handle it. That's how I'm supposed to react. That's how that relationship looks. Oh, that's what money means to me. Oh, that's how you're supposed to act with family. That's how you're supposed to act with friends. It's limitless of all the ways we show up in the world. And while it can be overwhelming, part of the healing journey is just picking off little things as you go. And as you're on that journey, your kids are the beneficiaries of all of your effort, and you're a beneficiary. So not only are you more joyful and healthy, your kids are. And so to me, it's like, how can you not afford to do that with your time?
Yeah. And those are all great points. And I think if we're applying it to our audience who is on their healing journey, what I would say is that what you and I do here, which is it does, like when you just named all of that, I was like, oh, I could see how that could be overwhelming because there are a bunch of little things to work on. And one, to our friend listening, like, congrats. Like you've already taken the first step. If you're listening to this podcast and you're consuming content like ours, that means that you are trying to figure your stuff out, right?
Yes,
and so what
absolutely.
what we want to show you through this is that these things will continue to come up.
Yeah.
But what kind of like what Jen, I think Jen, we were saying is like, there's blind spots, right? So there might be spots that you're not looking at and you're saying, well, that's just because the way I am. And there's been several spots, like that's how we were raised. That's how we do it. Like we've talked about these I am statements.
That's all I know.
Yes, like these kind of excuse type statements. And I think that's what we want to tell our friends listening. Like they can be sneaky and you can feel like you're on your journey. And I mean, you guys have heard us in the podcast, like how many times I've come up with something or you've come up with something. We're like,
constantly.
Yep. That one popped up. Yep. So it's not
that
that they're,
10.
yeah. It's not that. I think the point is to us is like the frustration is we might have started in a place of using that as a justification. Like, if I would die
Mhm.
for my kid, I've done sufficiently as a parent. And the truth is that's not true. Like you said, they're sponges. They're watching everything. So if they're going to watch you and you don't change, or what you don't change, they're going to continue to follow. And then they're going to grow up and do the same thing. So what,
Right.
if anything, can you do in your journey to prevent that? What can you change? What can you talk to them about? I think what's so important about what you're saying is this is a big part of a healing journey that we may not recognize. And this is a great way. Like, if you hear someone out in the world say, I would die for my kids, or I would do anything for my kids. Well, what is anything? Because if you do
Yeah.
anything for your kids, you would be doing the work. You'd be going after that job you wanted, or you'd be you'd be healing
Mhm.
yourself and learning things and working on relationships, all of those things. And so to me, like, if we're talking to our community and bringing it down to that, group, because we've already
Yeah.
made this decision to heal, that's what I feel like when I hear that.
Yeah. And I think when we're talking to our group here, and I know we have a sisterhood and some men that are on their healing journeys. And I think I just want to encourage you to not buy into that. Like,
Yeah.
because healing is hard and doing this work is hard. And the people that aren't willing to do it will come up with any reason to poo poo it, right?
Yeah.
To make you feel like you don't need to be doing it, to make you feel like, why are you doing all of this? Like, it has no meaning. But I'm here to tell you that all of this stuff has meaning. It's way bigger than you. Like, you literally are breaking. Like, let's just say you attack 2 out of the 100, right? Like, as Susanna said, it's overwhelming. That's two less that are in your lineage. That's two less your kids put up with. That's two less you know what I mean? Your grandkids, and so on and so on. Like, you literally killed off the toxic vine. And so when I think of generational healing, it's also a motivator because healing is hard. So I want you to know that you're not just doing this, isn't selfish. You're
Yeah.
not doing this for yourself. Yes. Are you a beneficiary? Yes. But as moms specifically, we want what's best for our kids. We would die for our kids. All those statements are true. But would we heal for our kids? Would we live for our kids? Would we get healthy for our kids? Like, whether that's spiritually, mentally, physically, right? It's a lot. We're already overwhelmed. But like, when you're in that moment and you're feeling like it's not working, I don't have it all figured out, I'm feeling discouraged, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just want you to know that you can hop on here and see here Suzanne and I just continuing to talk about our healing journey. And I can tell you firsthand that if we ever decided to have our kids on here or have a roundtable with our kids when they're old enough to make these decisions for themselves past 18, that they would tell you firsthand, they have literally watched us change. And I get emotional about it. Our husbands change, our families change, our friendships change, like, our bodies change. Like, I can't even begin to tell you the impact that you are making on so many people, and people beyond what you can even imagine, because you're also impacting your community. People are like, oh my gosh, she looks so good. She doesn't put up with crap anymore. Everything's so healthy. She doesn't talk smack anymore. Like, people are like, oh, she looks different. She acts different. She does this different. Like, you are like a frequency that's just like going out. And I know I'm like going on a thing, but like, I just want everyone to know that it's worth it. Keep going, keep showing up.
So no, I want to speak on that because I have a real-time example of it, in
Okay.
that I got together with a group of ladies. Like, the kids kind of play on the street together, but they don't live here. And so I maybe
Okay.
see her like maybe like once a month or something.
Okay.
And she said to me last week, Suzanne, she's like, you just have a lightness about you. She's like, I just can't explain to you like how you've changed. She's like, you have a lightness. And she's like, it's like you come and spread light. Like, you come and talk with us. And it's like, she's like, you bring the sun.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like that. I don't know of a nicer compliment than that. And she's like, every time I
Yeah.
see you, there's just like a vitality that you didn't have before. And she's like, not that you've done, she's
Yeah.
like,
It's not
and
a judgment thing. Yeah.
no. And she was just like, and every time I surrounded, like, I want to go do something good. She's like, because you're bringing a goodness. And I was like, can we just record? Can I record this? Like,
Yeah,
it
for
was
my bad days when I'm shame spiraling myself.
and ironically, I'd forgotten about it, right? Because this is what we do. We
Yeah.
remembered the bad,
Oh yeah, heaven
and then when
forbid you remember anything good.
and then you started talking, and I was like, "Oh, Jen, like I can actually speak. Here's someone in my community." And then
Yeah.
she went on and she was like, "And I do much better with my kids when I'm calm and I'm trying to find these little moments of joy and that feeling of like being happy. And then my kids do better." And so it's happening. So what you're saying is true, and that's a real-time example that just happened last week.
Yes. And to wrap it up, the takeaways are this is not me being judgmental. Listen, if what your goal is to die for your kids and love your kids as much as your heart possibly can or as much as you're capable of, like, good for you. I don't think that's our community. I don't think you're listening for that. So, my true gift to you is motivation. This is just a reminder. What this is a reminder of what you're fighting for. And I want you to just hold fast that what you're doing is so worth it. And again, I could get emotional about it. And that's why Suzanne and I are so passionate about this. So I know I'm going on a whole tirade, but I really just want to encourage you guys to just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. There's no finish line, there's no destination, there's no perfection. There's just better.
I don't think we're going to
Those
do
are
a
my
question
takeaways.
today. I think
Yeah.
we're just going to tell our listeners we're proud of you. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. To Jen,
Yes.
I'm proud of us for all the hard work we've been doing, and to our
Yes.
sisterhood that we're building. And we hope you continue to build the sisterhood, and we love you and we're proud of you. And
Yes.
if someone hasn't said it today, like I know Mel Robbins is always like, I love you. Like we're sending all the
Yes.
love and joy in this really,
Yes.
really hard experience that we're going through together. And thank you so much for listening. So that's it for
Yes.
today.
Hope you heard something in my motivational speech.
All right. Bye.